not your typical bromance. Broadcasting across the world. Live from Central Florida with news stories, current events, social media news, and real life shit. Even Karen rant worthy shit. Bro-RantZ.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, family.
Oh, welcome back, Geoff.
2022.
2022. Oh, man. Sucks what happened to Raymond, man. Damn. Gosh, damn. We just want to send our condolences to Raymond.
Ray, brother, we miss you.
Miss you, brother. Yeah, I got this coffee right here. I'm going to pour it out. Just pour a little bit for Ray.
Right, just a little something for the homie.
Little something for him. I miss you, bro. I miss you.
Bro-RantZ family, we messing around, man. Ray is fine, okay? He couldn't make it here tonight.
No, he's Belichick now, isn't he?
Oh, that's right. He's coaching, and clearly coaching these children to greatness, because last we checked, he had a flawless record.
Oh, yeah. That's the claims. That's the claims. He was like, yo, I'm nobody got nothing on me.
Are we questioning what homie Ray is saying? Ray's word is good, man.
Is it?
Yeah, Ray, I got your back, homie.
You can have his back all you want.
If you say you're undefeated, then guess what, Ray? You are undefeated. I got you, brother.
Nah, he was undefeated, but he hit me with a, hey, come check me out. Come check you out. Do what? He was like, come check me out, coach.
That's because he wants us to be a part of his greatness. This is his legacy.
That's kind of weird. Everybody's like, oh, who you here? Which kid is yours?
The big one coaching.
We're just here for the coach. Right. What? Nah, bro. All you got to do is tell me the plays. We can talk about the plays. That shit's weird. We can talk about the plays when I see you.
You know, when he extended the invite, I never once thought about what it would look like or feel like on the field watching Strictly there to
That's
watch
what I'm saying.
the coach, right? I was just
weird.
like, that'd be kind of cool. Come out, support my mans, but now that you've kind of broken it down.
Fucking weird. Hey, who you got? Oh, who you guys here to see? Oh, just the big guy. The big guy right there. The big boy.
Ray, homie, I got to tell you.
The big boy.
Reg has got a point. I'm probably have to support in spirit, homie.
Well, yeah, exactly. Dude was like, yo, put it on the YouTube.
Yo, next to the paddy wagon with the cop short. We've got two brown gentlemen here with no children just watching.
And they're sipping something weird. And we could be having a damn, you know what I'm saying, some alcohol beverage in our cups or something, doing illegal stuff. Yeah, we're going to get checked on.
Ray trying to get us on the setup.
Listen, that is not part of our pedigree. Look, you're gonna put us in a category that we're stereotyped for certain things, but pedophilia not one of our things that we're
true.
You know what I mean?
True.
So it'd be kind of, where's the two black guys over here watching? Oh gosh, are they watching?
Right.
They're not here for the coaches. No, wait, no.
Look.
Here? No, there's
never
way.
seen them before.
Exactly. There's no way.
Games in. Who are these guys?
There's no way. This is weird. It's weird. Speaking of coaching and stuff, how about Tom Brady, man?
So, I'm going to give Tom Brady his flowers as a Giants fan, ex-New Yorker. In the heart, I'm always a New Yorker. Go Brooklyn. I've spent a lot of time and energy hating on that man from every snap to, even in his transition to Tampa. But here's the truth, right? You have to be able to recognize greatness. If you love the sport, then you have to be able to acknowledge greatness especially when you are privy to witness it firsthand. And what Tom has been able to accomplish, especially when you think about him physically, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't have the fastest legs. He is not super evasive in the pocket.
Yeah.
But what he is very smart, very calculating, and you know what? He allows you to beat yourself. He allows you to make the mistakes, and then he capitalizes when needed. And you know what? He's got, that we always talk about Kobe having like that killer instinct.
Yeah.
That's Tom Brady in football, man. He's got that.
Okay.
He's got that killer instinct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So props to you, Tom. successful journey there. I'm not going to go super deep because my giant origins won't allow me to go all in. But you know what? Kudos to you, brother.
Yeah.
Even with that loss that you're retiring on, that was something to watch. I was rooting for you, brother. So sail off into the sunset with your beautiful family. Go live your life. It's probably going to be a very long time before anyone comes close to touching what you've been able to accomplish.
Wow. Well said. Well said. I was going to say, I wish he had I hope he, because there's rumors saying that he probably, it's not really confirmed, that maybe there's someone in his camp that leaked the information, and he hasn't really officially come out. He has officially came out and said it?
Yeah, he's done.
He officially came out and said it?
Yeah.
When?
I want to say it was yesterday.
Yesterday he came out and said it?
It was either,
because I know his agent wasn't speaking. No one was confirming it.
No, at first it was mumbles, and I think it was yesterday that he came out and confirmed that, it's a wrap.
Damn, I just wish he had, as you said, sailed off into the sunset with a victory. So I wish he would have done it last year and not sat here and try to repeat. Yes. And to go out like he did, man. I mean, damn you, defense.
Yeah, right. So you're right. But the truth is, there's not many people that are able to accomplish that. And I actually give him props because the last thing you want is, we've seen it with many great athletes, like they stick around a little too long.
Yeah.
And then not that it diminishes your value, but it definitely takes, I don't know, it kind of takes a little bit of the wind out of your sails, out of your legacy for a little bit. So I actually give him more props for retiring the way he did, because there's no one that can question the man's heart. Even at 40-something years, I think he, if I remember correctly, some of his stats for this season, he was in the upper elite as far as, like, touchdowns, and I think actual, yards per pass. Like, it's crazy. And that's at 40-something years old. Like, dude, go do your thing. Walk away before you hurt yourself, before you can't, enjoy your quality of life after the fact. There's nothing left to chase. Like, there's nobody even remotely close to him as far as chips. You know what I'm saying? He's got it locked down.
I mean, he's got it locked down, but I mean, just because he has so much in his tank. Okay, I can understand, live with no regrets. I know he wants to spend time with his kids and whatnot, right? And I don't think it's as strenuous as basketball, right? I noticed like almost no off season with basketball. They only get like a summer. If you're like LeBron James, you only get a little bit of summer. That's the only break you get because you get into the playoffs all your career. So I know football. I don't know when the off season camp starts or whatnot.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's hard to compare football to other sports, in my opinion. Because you may view it as, it's only one game a week, but there's very few games that take on the physicality that football does and the wear and tear that you're putting on your body in that one game, not to mention the practices leading up to that game, not to mention the preseason, drills and training camps that you're going through. Like, it is a dedication that's swallowing up easily 3/4 of their year. So, they probably get a little bit of downtime to themselves.
Yeah.
I had to guess maybe, a couple weeks, 2 months or so. But honestly, it's a full-time gig because the thing is, even when you're not on the field, your diet, your workout regimen, those are all things that you still need to keep in play.
Someone like him, because he's got that LeBron James, Kobe Bryant type of mentality where he's there's no off season.
Yeah, real talk. If it's you or me, we probably still playing, right? Like,
we
still got this. We go out there, we swinging this thing. But I tip my hat because the hardest thing to do is to walk away when you're still performing, on that level, and the fact that. It just speaks to his mental awareness, which really leads into some of his greatness as far as his decision-making and stuff. Like, what made him great was his thought process followed by the execution on that thought process and the ability to process, information quickly during a play and stuff like that. And I think for the most part, Tom has made really smart moves, calculated moves on, how he's handled his career. the things that he's chosen to get behind. And this is just another one of those situations where, again, I hate it. I'm a Giants fan, and I sound like I might as well have pom-poms cheering Tom Brady on. But again, when somebody does something, and when they've been able to achieve what he's been able to achieve, you know what? I'm going to get a man his flowers, yo. Props to you, Tom.
Okay, so you made a good point there. Like you're saying, as far as still going until the wheels fall off, we've seen two greats actually do that. Well, Kobe, he went till the wheels fell off, right? Till he was no longer in his prime, until his arm, his leg, his Achilles, everything was falling apart off of him. How did you think his career should have ended? You think he should have ended on top, or the way he went out, because he ended with 60 points anyway his last game as a NBA player, as a professional?
So I think, again, it circles back to the difference in sports, right? Because, if you're playing basketball, what you're really looking at is, significant wear and tear on your body. But I don't think there's ever a time where you wake up thinking like, man, this is going to like significantly impact my way of life and my ability to play with my kids, or, long-term head issues. When you're playing football, these guys are out to hurt you, man. These guys are
No, absolutely. Yeah. Basketball too, in a sense.
So that's why I think with basketball, you're afforded a little more leeway, and you can say like, yeah, man, I'm gonna play until I can't play anymore. Yeah. Because you don't necessarily have to worry about head injuries or broken bones on the same level that you would in playing a full contact sport like football. So no, I'm not mad at Kobe. Towards the end though, it kind of speaks to what I'm saying. No one's ever going to question Kobe's greatness, but towards the end, it was clear the wind had left them sails a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like hard to
Kobe
watch.
Could have left a little earlier, but I would never. I am never mad at the fact that he stayed as long as he did, because he earned that.
No, I completely agree. But I was going to say, because of what you said, it's just let me ask this question, because the way Jordan left twice, he left on top, and then he had so much because he was in his prime.
Yeah,
he had so much left in the tank, and it was due to circumstances with the Bulls and inside the organization that we found out more so from the Last Dance documentary, which is great if any of you guys have seen that. You prefer that, leaving on top, King of the Hill, because he left early, and this could happen to Tom Brady is what I'm saying, because he had so much still in the tank, and he's still performing at peak, performance level as far as in the game. He's not considered a low tier. He's at the upper echelon, right? So, because Jordan had regret and he came back, and when he came back, he wasn't Jordan-ish. He was so. Therefore, people, he still had his great games, but then he was plagued by injury. Then he was a little bit heavier, so all that played and factored in as far as whether he should have stayed. So that's what I'm saying. Like, with Tom Brady, do you think that's what I'm saying? You think it might bite him in the butt?
Nah.
No?
Nah. You know why? Because Tom Brady, it's interesting. One of the shows that I love on ESPN is Pardon the Interruption, which is basically Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, these two older dudes that have, covered more sport than I'll probably ever watch in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And when they were breaking down, Tom and where he falls, Tom, Jordan, Gretzky,
LeBron,
Chamberlain,
LeBron,
and LeBron too. But like these, no. What I mean by that is these guys have like solidified themselves in this up that they have won so much. Like they've got so much under their name as far as like championships or MVP accolades that. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anyone anytime soon to accomplish those same numbers. So that's what I mean when I mean not throwing LeBron in there isn't a slight at him, but LeBron is still at a place where I think it's fairly achievable that someone can get to, some of the numbers and the accomplishments LeBron has had. Is it going to be easy? Heck no. But then you think about what Tom Brady's been able to accomplish, and no one in the NFL has been able to accomplish what Tom Brady has accomplished, and no one is even remotely close. And so that's what I mean by like being on your own tier. And there's a handful of sports where there's people that's performed on that level that when you look at their accomplishments and the people that come closest to them, there's this huge gap. And that's why I think there's only a handful of people. And at this point, Tom Brady doesn't just fall into the topic of, okay, well, maybe greatest football player ever. He's up there in it with a grouping of very special individuals, and you can argue whether it was the time frame or how the sport was played at the time. But regardless, there's a very small handful of people across different sports have been able to accomplish, on a level what Tom Brady's been able to accomplish in his sport, and they all fall in that special category. And so, circling back to what you were saying, every person has to decide for them when is the best time. Like you said, Jordan had things going on that kind of led to him moving the way he did. Tom Brady, for the most part, especially late in his career, was in full command of what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. But just like Jordan, just like the Gretzkys, just like, who else would I put in there? I'm drawing a blank right now in basketball. There's a handful of guys that within their sport have dominated on such a level that even within their own sport where there's other people that's accomplished greatness, you can't even lump them in the same category because there's such a huge difference in accomplishments between them and the next guy, which is also considered super successful. So, that's all. And I think Tom's done. Like, there's nothing left. He may very well wake up and think like, I can still throw this ball. I can still do these things. But because of the potential injury that comes with it, there's all kinds of stuff coming out now about how he's had multiple concussions and no one knew and stuff like that. Like, you see some of these football players that, you hear about their quality of life and the CT.
Oh, that's right.
Is it the CTEs? I can't remember what it is with the head injuries and stuff. It's like it is not a sport that, long term, carries favorable, I guess what I'm trying to say is the longer you stay in is the more likely you are to like hurt yourself on a level that you can't recoup from. And
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think that's enough to keep him at home or geared towards doing something else.
I got you on that, but just because you mentioned LeBron not being there and people catching, look, LeBron has, I think they said he played 17 seasons or 18 or 19 seasons, averaging 26 or 27 points per game, and it's never been done.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also the oldest person to get 30-something points per game for, I think he's been going on like 10 games from now. He's accomplishing things that has never been done. Never been done.
And again, but like when we're talking, there are football players, there are basketball players, there's plenty of people that have accomplished all kinds of things that probably won't get the recognition they deserve. When I'm thinking as far like, I'm looking at championships.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like things along the lines of like, MVP accolades, and that's across all sports. And LeBron has definitely collected his fair share, but I'm pretty sure if we take a look at, LeBron's chips and the individuals that have more chips than him, it's not close. As a matter of fact, I will look it up.
Go ahead and look at it. First and foremost, LeBron should have more MVPs than he had. He should have like 6 or 7 right now. I mean, so is Jordan should have had more, but LeBron has been slighted on a few MVPs.
I agree, but that's because of the fickleness of the NBA. I think sometimes like when you're on top, it feels that people just they want to hate, or better yet, I take that back. Sometimes it's hate, but sometimes when you're so good at what you do, people take it for granted.
Oh, absolutely, and they do take it for granted
because when you've been so dominant and you've done something, so well. And, so consistently, people expect it, and it's no longer recognized for being an outlier. Instead, it's treated as the norm when we all know it is far from the norm.
Absolutely.
So, unfortunately, in some instances, LeBron is a victim of his own success.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I was going to ask you too, because I know you had you were feeling down over the weekend, right? This past weekend, you were pretty sick, right?
Oh yeah. So, it's real, party people. Let me tell you, okay. Last Wednesday woke up felt pretty good. As the day wore on, I noticed I was having a hard time warming up. And yes, even though I'm an ex-New Yorker living in Florida, my blood is fully thinned out. So the moment it drops below 65 degrees, I'm looking for like some sweats and stuff. But for whatever reason, it just felt cooler than usual. By the end of the night, I started feeling achy. Sometime during the morning, I went into a full-fledged fever, and I was just miserable for a couple of days. I got tested because naturally I'm thinking like, I got that Rona.
Yeah.
And the test came back negative. So ultimately, it seems like I may have had the flu. So let's not forget, party people, I know like Corona is real and everyone should be taking precautions to protect themselves and their loved ones and even the people that you don't know. But also keep in mind that, diet is important, exercise is important, and protecting yourself is important because there's other things out there instead of, outside of just Corona.
Yo, I was just going to say, it is crazy how the Rona is like the number one thing people are like willing to give up, their social and everything. Like, oh yeah, let me give you my status. Forget HEPA.
Right.
They don't give it. They don't say, hey, people don't care what they're, if they have any diseases, any sexual transmitted diseases. Cancer's taking a backseat. People don't care anymore. It's like, hey, do you have Corona? Cool. Oh, you're vaccinated? Yeah. Okay. We can date. Right. You're vaccinated? Okay. We can have sex. Oh, you're vaccinated? Okay, cool.
Right.
You don't need to
vaccination takes the place of everything.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, whoa, did you check the other part of the medical history? How many partners? No. Have you instead of like strapping up anymore, people are like, do you wear your mask in public?
I'm telling you.
How many people you've been with? How many restaurants you've been with without your mask? That's what it's turned into, the more importance as far as your health status. It's just crazy. The vaccination versus the non-vaccination. But as you were saying.
So here's what I was talking about as far as being on a different level, right?
Yeah.
When you look at...
Oh, so you're going back to LeBron?
Yeah, just real quick, because I wanted to circle back.
Hater.
What? No. So, you got Scotty that's got 6, right? You got MJ that's got 6.
Absolutely.
You got Kareem that's got 6. Trying to figure out where your boy...
He's got 4. He's got 4, but he's been there like 9-10 times.
I know.
Unbelievable.
But and we can all agree that the individuals that I just mentioned are elite superstar level, right?
Okay.
Like, if you're starting a team, you want any one of those guys in their prime ASAP.
Okay.
You've got Bill Russell that has 11. That's what I'm talking about as far as like the difference in, and again, I know it's different times and things along those lines, but that's what I mean as far as a different era.
He's got 11. Yeah, he's got 11. How was he as a scorer? He was a role player. He wasn't really a scorer, right? Or am I wrong?
Yes.
No, he was a scorer?
Yes.
No, how much did he average? He was like more so like a defensive.
Dude, Bill Russell
he was like a role player.
Dominant, bro.
Was he?
Nobody
I know Wilt Chamberlain was.
See,
I know Wilt Chamberlain was dominant.
In other areas.
Hey, brother.
Wilt, we love you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like that's what I'm talking about when I say like Tom Brady is in a very small group of people that have dominated in their sport on such a level that it's really at that point you're comparing him to those people instead of the people within his own sport bracket. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
right
you're talking about people outside. You're just talking about people that's in professional sports,
right?
All
that
around.
have dominated
Okay.
on a level like that's kind of like the tier that he's on. Us when you're thinking greatness, it's not like There's Tom Brady. And I'm thinking like, all right, there's Tom Brady. There's like Bill Russell. We're talking about
so you like Pele and stuff like that. Yeah, hey, that was a shout out to you. By the way, that's a shout out to you, Raymond, because first and foremost, you want to have us not watch some sport that we'd be interested in. This dude coaching soccer, and he wants us to come sit and watch some kids kick some balls.
First off, your uncle would go in on you.
Yeah, you say you'd be like Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, you'd be like Stephen A. Smith. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
That's
first and foremost.
Blasphemy.
That's blasphemy. Yeah, you'd be like.
The truth is, we're behind the times when it comes to soccer, because soccer, as far as like the world is concerned, is like the
football.
Exactly right. First off, right, we're one of the few that actually call it soccer. It's untouched.
Yeah.
It is untouched. Matter of fact, I wish I had listened to my father. And
you should have. You would have got like a scholarship. You would have been professional.
You go play across seas, and the type of money they're making, what? It is no joke.
Exactly. I don't even know. I don't even know how good David Beckham was when they had this. What was it, Orlando League or something, or Los Angeles thing? He came and did. When he was like out of his prime, when they just had him, it was more so like a horse and pony show just to have him to bring in people. He got paid a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, damn.
Because even then, his name carried serious weight. And that actually happens with a couple of, the major stars across seas. They come over here and play for some of these U.S. teams and are still making stupid coins. So I wish, Gregory, if you're listening to me, Padre, there's plenty of things plenty of knowledge you try to bestow upon your hard-headed child. I wish I had listened, Dad, because I'm going to tell you, those dudes make bank.
Oh, absolutely. You had me confused. I was like, who is he talking about, Gregory? I was like, no. I'm like, why'd you just say Dad? He's like, Gregory, if you're listening, what the hell? You threw me off for a moment there.
Ray, you keep coaching that soccer, homie. Don't listen to Reg.
Yo, he got like 5 more games, bro. I'm with you, Ray. I am with you. I wish you the best. Like I said, I'll send me some selfies, bro, so I can say I've seen you. Send me some selfies. Send me some selfies from the field with the kids in the background. I know that didn't seem sound right?
That just
I don't even know, man.
So I know you're I'm going off script a little bit.
No, you're good.
And I don't know if you caught this. Did you catch the Janet Jackson special?
I did not, but I want to watch it.
I'm so surprised. I know, like,
no, I was watching it, and Kate was like, "Oh no, I don't want to watch this." I was like, "All right, we're not gonna watch this right now." I was like, "We ain't gonna watch it right now."
It was actually really good, man. Sometimes I think we forget about her music catalog and just how much ground she covered and how dominant. We talk about dominant,
bro.
How dominant
she was. The female. She was a female Michael Jackson. Like, let's be real. She was legit on that level. Like, no one's seen her before that. I mean, Whitney Houston, as far as record selling, but no one was a pop star icon as a female.
It was crazy. If you get a chance, check it out, and we'll definitely have to circle back on it. Thought it was a really good watch.
Okay, so I believe it. I'll definitely have to look at it, man.
Let me know your thoughts.
I will, yeah. I'll have to binge it myself because Kate was not interested. I was like, come on now. I said, all right, Miss Nasty, I'm going to have to watch you later. Velvet Rope, I'm going to have to watch you later. If I was your girl, I'll have to watch you. Come on. Love will never do without you. Yeah, I'll have to watch you later, Miss Nasty.
Bro-RantZ family, Reg is having a moment right here. Just let this man go. Just let him go.
Yeah, we'll be back with the next segment. On that note, we'll be back, guys. Guys, if you haven't checked out the Bro-RantZ merch, you need to. Tell him, Ray.
Yes, you're talking about some nice apparel. We got hoodies. We have sweatshirts, beanies, hats, snapbacks. We got women's apparel.
We got the dad caps.
We got it all.
We got it absolutely all. Everything for the youth, for the girls, for the men. Guys, check it out. It's pretty affordable, and it just shows us how much you support us.
You have to get some gear.
So check it out. It's on www.bonfire.com.
And Bro-RantZ merch.
Check it out. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms.
You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, better late than never. No, you know what? It's not late because it was actually the Lunar New Year for the Chinese New Year.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what it is, man. That's what I was waiting for.
Now?
I was waiting for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, konnichiwa.
All right.
Is that Chinese or is that Japanese?
I have no idea.
Yo.
I suspect it's Japanese.
Hey,
though.
Sing Bonghua. So, anyhow, so I was watching these YouTube shorts. You know, they bring stuff up. You just keep scrolling up, and there was this one topic that came on. I thought, you know what, we should start segments with TikTok or YouTube shorts as a full range topic. We can just have a discussion on, just because they're you know, some of them are meaningless, but some of them are really you know, have really good food for thought, if you would. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and we'll take it from there.
Let's do it.
They're raised to be a wife.
But why isn't a black woman raised that way?
Most black women are raised to be independent. Remember, let's be real.
Say that again?
Most black women are raised to be strong, tough, independent, and don't take no shit. Because your daddy wasn't shit. I raised you alone by myself. Be a strong black woman. So they come into the game with their guard up ready. Spanish girl is raised to serve.
Yeah.
They be cooking for their father at a young age, washing the dishes, washing the table, mopping all Saturday morning. Let's face it, they're raised to serve. If one time I swear to God, I'm at a girl's house having dinner. I got her with my own plate, put it in the garbage, put it in the sink. Her mom spazzed on her in Spanish about da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, in the black woman's house, if I get up with my own plate, she gonna say, that's a damn good. He got his own shit. I like
So, what are your thoughts on that, my man?
Man, that is a loaded question for
Yeah.
a loaded statement.
Well, let's first and foremost, let's take out the ethnicity. Just keep it woman.
No, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to stress. I know it said black and Hispanic, so culturally there's different cultures, but we're not going to touch on that. We're just going to talk on the modern day woman for you guys listening.
So it's tough to remove the ethnicity piece
Okay.
of it, but we're going to go that route.
Okay. Well, you can touch on it a little bit, but we don't have to just narrow it down to one ethnicity. Okay,
Yeah,
there you
yeah. You know, and so see, I'm just going to deal in. I'm going to go in direct, right?
go. Okay, go for it.
I think I know the direction he was heading with his comment. And having been someone that has, you know, dated multiple races, a good portion of that, you know,
Are you saying you were a rock star or something, Jeff?
Hey.
Debbie's over there just like, what? Your wife's like,
That's
what?
my prior life, man. I put the electric guitar away a long time ago.
Papa was a rolling stone. I'm sorry, guys. My bad.
But, you know, as a father,
Yeah.
I've raised my daughter to be independent. And I think every parent raises their child to be independent, especially, you know, your girls, because ultimately what you understand is that as forward moving as we are,
Yeah.
as a community, as a country, women still face a significant amount of discrimination. And you can find it in the pay place. You can find it, you know, as far as areas of opportunity. You can find it, you know, in everyday social stigmas that come with being a female. Like, oh, it's okay if it's the boy. Oh, it's a pat on the back. If it's a female, like, oh, you know, it's a whole different situation. So women, unfortunately, from young are coming in, and I'm not going to say at a disadvantage, because that's not fair, but there's still a lot of headway to be made, I believe, if you're a woman. And, on some levels, and I know this to be true, you still have to work twice as hard to prove your merit, to prove your worth, to get the acknowledgement that one deserves. So understanding that, being a brown man and having my own bouts with discrimination sometimes, I've raised my daughter to be very independent, to be very strong, to be, very selective in how she moves and who she moves with. That said, though, there still is a dynamic that takes place between a man and a woman on an emotional level that, yes, culture can play a part into how you're wired.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think the things that he's touching on that you may see that he believes you see on one side that you don't see on the other, I don't necessarily always believe that to be true. I do think that what happens sometimes is your culture can wire you to do some things by default, maybe, whereas in other circumstances, you're dealing with someone that feels like you need to earn that portion of me. You know what I'm saying? You need to earn that acknowledgement or tap into that side of me. We have to be at a certain place to get that, and I'm not mad at that either. So I'm walking a very thin line here because I know we're not trying to take it into, ethnicity and the different cultures and things along those lines. But
you can touch on it because of your experience. So we'll just go off for experience. So you can do that.
So being a father of a beautiful brown girl and being married to a woman of Latin descent, I absolutely understand where he's going with the comment. I don't necessarily know if it's as well polished. The delivery, the delivery's a little raw. You know what? Maybe that's the issue. We live in the world of spin, and he's just coming at it real off the top, and he's speaking from his experience, and there's no knocking that. And the truth is, like him, I've been in those situations before. I've been in situations where I've gone to someone's home, and like him, I've gotten up because at the end of the day, those things are nice, but I'm not necessarily raised to have anyone wait on me hand and foot. So if something needs to be done, I'm just going to do it. And I've been in situations where there's been a relative or someone around and be like, hey, go get his plate or go get his cup or something like that. And I've been in other instances before where I'll be like, well, damn, can I get a fork? Serve me.
Get your ass up.
Right?
Yeah, shit.
Can I get a fork? Again, there's no expectations, but it's just kind of like, well, I don't see where it's at. It's not out. Like, help a brother out a little bit, So, I don't know. I guess what was your thoughts on it?
Well, my thoughts were the thing you mentioned about which I've watched a few videos of people debunking the whole gender gap in pay. There seems to I just pulled up something with Joe Rogan and explaining it, but I'll play that just now because I haven't actually listened to it. But there's people debunking women making less than men. But I'll play that after I give you my opinion. My opinion as far as do I think the modern woman, I would say, and what we're seeing from music, the culture, social media, are they being raised to not be wives? Is the best way to put it versus subservient or, submissive to their men. Minus that saying it that way. Because I think when you say wife, people are thinking, yeah, you have to be submissive or you don't see me as an equal. You see me as a second class citizen. I would say, yeah. Because it's almost you have to do, you don't need a man. You almost need a man to procreate. Not even that anymore. You don't even need a man for that. Right. I mean, you haven't needed that for a while. I mean, I think it's not healthy for our society because you're going to just continue to have broken homes. Now, what used to be broken on just one ethnicity, the black home, because of the drugs, pandemic, the stuff that have happened, and that it's made. That's why you have, from what he was saying in the video, saying, "Oh, that man ain't nothing," because all the woman had to do was say, "Your man, your dad ain't crap," and basically raise him to be strong because the mother was the father. So I can see from that perspective versus being in a 2-parent household. That's where it differs, because then you and your mom serve your dad, so you're a product of your environment. So if there is no dad, so being in a 2-parent household, that also dives into it being on a cultural level. So yeah, it's cultural, and the family that doesn't have it the most would be. It's hard to say, man, because I'm black, but yeah, it would be the black family. So yeah, you're taught that way. Versus, what's so crazy? I know this is off topic, but I grew up in a single parent household. You know that, and I was still raised to be servant, like to be, to serve the woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you have a mother, and you're taught to treat women with respect. And it's so funny from the opposite that a single mother would have a daughter and be like, yeah, because they fill them with that toxicity and say, you man ain't shit, so no, you don't need a man ever, versus, hey, you know what, find a good man, find a church going man, whatever the case may be, a God-fearing man, and you take care of him, and you guys take care of each other. It's so funny how a single mom that raises boys would put good seeds in their child versus, or you seem like you're going to say something.
No, go ahead.
Versus a single mom that has a lot of bitterness, would just send send a kid out into the world, women out into the world with just, her own ideology of men.
So here's where you make a general statement. It gets a little complicated.
Yeah.
His comment, though, I understand, and there's probably varying degrees of some elements of truth to that. Mm-hmm. Again, we're going off of experience, right? So in my experience, like I said, I've dated a variety of different cultures, and some of the Latin women that I've dated came from broken homes.
Okay.
All right. It was just them and their mama. And you know what? They still, maintained that, Papa, you need this, let me get this, so I'm going to get that. Or, you hungry, let me serve you your plate, which to me always felt foreign because, like you said, the way we were raised to take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It needs to be clean, I'm going to clean. If I'm hungry, I'm going to cook. If I got to wash my clothes, I'm going to wash my own clothes. I don't need anybody to take care of me. So it feels foreign. But, that kind of, in my opinion, that kind of negates some of what he's saying, because these weren't women that grew up in a 2-parent household. They grew up in, single family household. Like, it's just them and their mama, and they still maintain some of that, which is why I think some of it
Spanish
is
culture.
That's what I'm saying. I think part of it has to do with culture. Now, that said, I've also dated sisters that came from broken homes, and I didn't deal with that type of energy that he's talking about, as far as them, like, well, I'm not doing this, or or I'm not going to be considerate of what you got going on. I'll still be like, hey, you want something? You want me to serve you a plate? You need anything? Like, I've experienced that on that side as well. So again, I'm not knocking his comment. It's all relative to what he's experienced. That's
true.
And I'm pretty sure that, that's his truth. And I'm not trying to be dismissive and say, oh, well, no, it's not like this. Let's be real. I've also been a part of scenarios when I was like, whoa, all right, I know I need to walk away from this because, clearly, you've been through some stuff. You're usually able to recognize there's certain traits up front when you
red flags.
When you meet someone and then you interact with them, and especially in a social setting or it's a one-on-one, there's certain things that take place or things that are done or said that you quickly realize if you're not focused on just the physical, that you quickly realize like this is not going to be a good fit.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, I didn't spend enough time to figure out what was going on there. I just knew that I was not ready to deal with that. But sometimes just in the sharing of stories of background, family, you start to learn and realize you put, dots together.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy because I hear that snippet and it makes me feel some kind of way. And
Yeah.
it's a variation of feelings, everything from, a little bit of disappointment because I don't think it's ever good to generalize something, but I think he is onto something. The truth is, your upbringing has a lot to do with how you're wired, and not just your upbringing, but your culture. Your culture often plays a big part in who you are, why you move the way you move. And he used the term they're raised to be wives, which I can see how the way their culture is designed can be, it's somewhat endearing. I just, I also feel some kind of way as a brown man. Like, I don't necessarily want sisters to get a bad rep. Like, it's like, oh, well, it's, and that's why I know you wanted to remove the
ethnicity out of it.
Piece of it. But I mean, we're just going to go there because that's what he mentioned. And based on my experiences, I've found some of that, we're just going to call it that raw energy, and they weren't necessarily confined to any one color. I've found it in a variation of different people that I've encountered over time, and I really think what it comes down to is, hey, what was your circumstances and how were you raised? Because I think you can be super independent and at the same time still be thoughtful of your significant other, and doesn't make you, like, in my opinion, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. If anything, if you tell me, like, look, you know what, this is something that as we build and we grow and I see that this is where you're at, this is where we're at, like, that's something that I'm willing to give of myself, I can respect that. Because I'm like, absolutely. Like, I'm saying, you ain't going to open up the shop and give away everything up front. Like, some stuff has to be earned, so I can respect that. And if that's not being given right up front, I don't necessarily think it should be, you should be viewed negatively. So I don't know, man. It's such a loaded situation, and it's so easy to go in one situation or the other. I do think that just because of where we're at as a society today, that women do project, strength. And I'm really curious to hear about the things that were debunked, because a lot of what I mentioned, I'm just talking off of, like,
what you've heard,
knowledge.
but personal knowledge. Yeah,
some things and some situations that I've been a part of as well.
Oh wow,
So I'm really curious to see how that plays out. But I think women have, in the last couple of decades, have taken on, different roles versus what we saw of them 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of that they had to fight to do, and on some level they're still seeking acknowledgement. So I get the strength. I know where it comes from. I get the whole, like, I don't got time to be bothered with your nonsense. And the truth is, I would flip it and say, like, okay, if we believe that the dynamic of male-female relationships have changed, and when we're saying that maybe we feel like there is a little more, we feel like it's moving towards more of a toxic situation, then I guess my next question is, then don't we also have to take a look at the men? And do we believe that chivalry is still a real thing? Like, is chivalry still around? Like, do we believe that what men were maybe doing and bringing to the table, decades ago, that they're still doing now? I just think as a people, we've fallen off, man.
Oh yeah, we have. No, absolutely, dude. I think we're just.
I just think, like, I tell my kids all the time, we have a reoccurring theme. I'm like, I worry for the well-being of the human race. I tell that to my kids all the time, and they laugh at me, and they make me sound like the old guy in the car or in the room when we're chit-chatting. But that's just kind of where we're at. I think that for as much technology as we have, and as connected as that we've become, we have really lost touch with one another and the things that are important.
Oh yeah,
and I think this is just another aspect of it.
No, I agree with you. I pray for the human race. I'm like, if this is it, like if this is humanity's last hope, we're in some deep trouble, because I don't even know how the kids survive these days. It's things are way more faster than it was our age. And I'm not saying it as a person that I heard my mom say. It's completely different. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, wow, is this what it sounds like to be a parent? And you're just like, was it for like what we're experiencing? Was it for the same way for them? And I'm like, no, because it's like the parents are even growing in this. Like when you and I were going through our cultural or pop culture or, changes, right? It was us experiencing like our parents' experience from, R&B or rock and roll guys or whatever the case may be to hip hop. And, they didn't come along for that ride, but, they heard the music change. But for us, it's like, no, even adults are jumping on this change and experiencing it. So it's the whole, world and society from multiple ages that are experiencing this phenomenon, like, and it's not one
it's a different experience.
It's just completely different. I don't think anywhere in time it's ever been this big as far as it being, cultural from one continent to another, and it all boils down to social media. I mean, we're all connected, and I think we're all experiencing stuff at the same time because of social media. And I don't think, and everything has energy, everything has a frequency. So everything is happening to everyone at the same time in a sense, maybe on different levels, but so you have lockdowns here, you have pandemic, you have opioid issue here, you have underage. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know how it was for us, but we talked about it. You and I talked about it off camera we talked on the phone the other day, and I was just like, I remember 90210 watching that and thinking, this is okay. It was kind of risque. It was a lot more risque than Dawson's Creek, right? And you're just like, okay, Dawson's Creek brought intelligence to our age group, right? It was like, well, kids talk like that. They actually made kids have sense versus be teenage, didn't have any intellect or whatever, right? We just talked about small things and had little issues. And 90210, like I said, was a little risque, had little heartthrobs, and you see things slowly creeping into. When you realize it, I'm like, okay, I'm a teenager. This makes sense. And when you're an adult and you're like, well, why are we watching teenagers have sex on TV? Like things like that in my mind, I'm like, this is crazy. Because this is like, if we're banishing people from society that are pedophiles, we're kind of participating in these pedophilia type thing. Even though these are adults that are playing teenagers. At the end of the day, it's a teenager show.
It's a show geared towards young adults.
And then you have, so with this Euphoria that the teens are going all crazy about, I can see it and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. It's story about, different storylines, and you have gender identity things in there. You have prostitution in it, and you have a down low husband doing things on the side, and you have a girl that is just on drugs, and she lost her father and stuff like. So it circles around a few characters, and you're like, dude, this show, like watching the first episode, I was like, man, this is what we're in for. This is our world. Like, this is entertainment. This is artistic. This is what they consider artistic, artistic creativity or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, man, this is, or interpretation. I'm like, dude, this is straight up pornography. I've never seen so much the male anatomies on TV before in my life. Like I told you, I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I was like, I don't know what woman is behind this show. It's like, you know what? We've been showing the nipples forever and the breasts, that it's time for us to have time for the next step. Yeah, it's time for men to have their frontal. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, and I'm pissed. I'm like, where are the black guys? Because everyone on the damn show is white and they're swinging, man. And I'm like, what's going on here? Sitting there with Kate. I'm like, no. I'm like, you made the right decision. Do not look I told you, bro, I had to throw pillows at her. I was like, yo, psh. You know, we slept at midnight watching this stuff. I want ice cream. Babe, can you get me some ice cream? Because I'm like, yo, all these penis swinging. And I'm like, this is crazy. But on a serious note, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, my kids are watching this and they're like, oh, this is. And we're like, what do you mean? Oh, all the kids, it's crazy. So I felt dirty. I was like, yo, this is the first minute. You're like, what the? And yeah, there is some good storyline, but you don't need all of what they put in there, and they're putting it on there. Like this is the most I've seen. And you know, being a young kid, you watch porno. It's a thing. It's cultural, but that's the most I've ever seen from. It's more I've seen in Skinamax. Remember Skinamax was the thing.
Oh yeah.
You don't even see nothing. All you do is see all you see the woman frontal. You know, you see the woman's boobs. That's all you would see. But at the end of the day, it was like you didn't see any body parts. It was just like the, you know, what do you call it? The I forgot the term they use, and it's like the not the motion. What do you call it? The impression that they're having sex, but you don't really see them engaging in what. Right. This shit is like, yo, it's might as well, like, it's crazy. But back to what I was trying to say, that yeah, this is considered normal, and it scares me because I think this is totally off topic, but I think where it's going, it's like are they opening the door for pedophilia? Like when they say, hey, what do you mean? We watched Euphoria, like. We fantasized about that character, like it's on HBO, so it's cool, right?
So you mentioned something earlier. You said that, you know, if you look back at our parents, did they experience some of the same challenges that we do today? And I'm pretty sure they did, but the game has changed. Oh, right? Yeah. You know, you mentioned back in the day, like, you know, if we was trying to catch a little peek of something, you had to have an old uncle or go to somebody's friend's house whose dad had the magazines or had the old tape hidden, you know, DVD hidden in the back of the closet, and then, you know,
VHS, don't lie, VHS,
catch a little view or something.
VHS.
Those days are gone, brother.
Absolutely.
Like, you know,
your phone
every child has access to that on their phone. So as far as accessibility, you have to compete with that and make sure that, you know, the proper parental controls are in place. And even then, these kids are so sharp, they know how to beat some of the controls sometimes, or how to view certain things without it popping up, you know, in whatever parental app you're using to take a look at what they're looking at. Yeah. You know, so that's issue number one, is just the accessibility. And then, you know, there's other things that you have to compete with as well. Like, you know, if your kid went to school and they had a rough day and they were being, you know, bullied, or they had some type of beef with someone there, they'd come home, you know, you'd build them up, you'd send them in, you'd maybe have a conversation with the teacher, you know, you try to get out in front of it, and depending on your parent's style, you're either going to address it, or, you know, I don't know if you're the old school parent type that's like, you know, you got to go in there and defend yourself. You know, everybody's got a different approach, but the truth is, at the end of the day, the problem was put on pause until the next day. Now there's no longer a pause switch, because with social media, your problems are following you home. I mean, I think I read somewhere where there's a stat where suicide amongst young people is at like an all-time high, and this pandemic is definitely not helping, you know, with the mental health of our youth. So, I mean, I know we've taken a significant detour from where we started on, you know, this man's comment on women and his experiences on, you know, the difference in how some people were raised. I just think it's natural. As people, we're forever changing. I think it is natural for us to evolve. Yeah. The unfortunate thing is, you know what, we're also taking steps back in some areas. Yeah, absolutely. As well. And I think, you know, I would hate, let me tell you, Reg, I would hate to be in a situation where I was out and about trying to find the love of my life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Scary.
And I just think it's crazy because, again, with all the advancements that we've made in technology and connecting people, it feels like we are the furthest apart we've ever been, you know, as far as being a peoples and being in line with one another. And I just, I think you need to be able to project strength, and not just even from a female standpoint, but from a male standpoint. So I don't know what the date was on, that when he made those comments or when he posted it. It seemed like it was fairly recent. But I just think the game has changed. And when the game has changed, you can't expect the players to be the same. And that's what we're experiencing right now. We're experiencing a variety of different dynamics as far as women and how they interact with men. And like everything else, even before the issues of culture or how you were raised, a lot of that has to sometimes just do with your experience and what you've been through as a person. And that a lot of that will carry over into how you deal with other people, whether it's male or female. And that's why it's a little hard for me to swallow that pill when he kind of goes to ethnicity. I think a lot of it just has more to do with, experience. And you can't fault someone if that's what I know, if that's how I was raised. If I don't know any better, then that's who I am. And guess what? Lucky for you, if that's not your cup of tea and you can't deal with it, then keep it moving, keep it pushing. And I respect that. And there's been many of instances where I did just that, kept it pushing. Like, oh wow, you are beautiful. Wow, really, man? You got a lot going on. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, what? Excuse me? What'd you say? Oh, oh, really? Oh, okay. Pleasure to meet you. No. I don't think this is gonna work out.
And well, shoot, that's a smart way to go about it. That's not what it is these days, because people are just, it's beauty. It doesn't matter, man. They overlook all the ugliness majority of the time, and it's still that trophy wife thing. I mean, the traditional things still exist with the trophy wife. She's crazy as hell, a bat shit crazy. Ain't nothing wrong with a little crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of crazy. For me, and the thing is, everybody's got varying degrees of crazy that they like. For me, I don't mind a little crazy. A lot of crazy is a little different. But how are you? How are you raising the girls? You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear that comment, and what does that make you think? As a father, as a brown man, as someone with girls who I know, you've projected like strength and independence in them. Like, where does that comment take you? Okay, so that comment takes me. That's a great question. Being in a 2-parent household, it's less pressure I can show them. It's less, I'll give it to you this way. I know probably for you it's the same way, because you can lead by example. So they see things happening because you can just live it with your wife. So you can basically, like, they can see you have chivalry, they can see you have kindness, or you can sit there and wash the cars or help them with something that they need, and they know, okay, I need someone like this. I need someone that's going to be attentive, or be able to be handy if they like that or not. Or maybe they don't want someone that's handy, so they can pick and choose what they want from example of what you're doing, right? And then you can also instill that in them, like, okay, hey, I want you to be like this, but I want you to be respectful. I know what you're seeing on TV. Like, I see you disrespecting, hey, don't talk to me like that, because at the end of the day, it's not real what you're seeing. Right. You're seeing someone project their beliefs on you, and you're thinking that's how all women are. It's not. That's what clout, what you guys, deem as or coin as clout, because it's good to be bad, and that gets you the most views, and it's good to talk down to men. But if it's undeserving, is it really, if it's undeserving, is it really valid? No. So I do things like that, but I also tell them, hey, you need to know how to do this. You need to know how to do that. Like, I do give them things to be independent about, but not completely independent, because at the end of the day, I want you to respect a man too, because that's someone you're going to partner with. I don't want you, and if you find someone you're with that you have disdain for, then I'm like, that's not the person for you, because absolutely. That is not, because you're putting the way you're treating them is not because they're a man, but I don't want you to mistake it because you don't like them, just like you don't like a certain person or a girl. That's why you're treating them that way. Yeah. And then you guys can get into habits. Like, Egypt had a boyfriend that she would, they would call each other, oh, you stupid. They would say this stuff to each other, and Kate and I would listen. And we're like, oh, and Kate would tell her, "What are you doing?" Like, you know, and told the boyfriend we went out to dinner with him before. This is when they were together, and she was like, "Look, you guys talk to each other like, you know, like you know, you dislike each other, or and it's not cool how you guys talk down to each other. You know, you shouldn't be doing that. If you don't want to be together, don't be together.
Right.
There's a way to get that, you know, try to basically break that habit before it continues to grow into, you know, you're this. Yeah.
Else.
Yes, exactly. So we have touched on that and spoken up, and, you know, thank God Kaylee's not dating anyone or hasn't dated anyone for all I know, but
you've never gone to your girls and been like, you know, you shouldn't serve a man, or you know, you shouldn't be mindful of what your significant other's needs are. Like, you've never had a conversation where you make it seem like that is a show of weakness, or, you know, like that is below them.
I don't think that would be my place. You know, I think that would be something that Kate can give them, you know, their mother can give them that woman advice. I can only give them certain things like, hey, you shouldn't do this, or, hey, you know, that guy's not good for you, or, hey, I can tell them don't disrespect or whatever. Oh yeah, you know what, you need to leave him to the curb. But I don't necessarily, like I said, I think that's more of a woman on woman advice. So if you have someone you can turn to, you're not going to look for me for man advice because I'm the enemy. Right. You know, hey, you know, and not only that, I'm not going to be like, I would be like, everyone's a jerk, you know, because in my mind, no, not good enough. So I'm going to have my own biased opinion, right? Because, you know, it's either, you know, you just as a father. So it's better coming from her because she has a neutral, you know, a neutral take on it. You know, she'll look at the situation, and she's been really good about that. So that's good. How's Debbie been with that? Oh, actually, they're not dating, right? No, you do have one. 3T is dating. That's right. He's the 3T.
Neither are officially dating, like you said, that I know of. But Deb's very hands on with, you know, and you're right. There's input that can be provided by a mother and a father in certain instances that just carries weight. And something else you said that, you know, it also carries a lot of weight is you learn where you grow.
Yep.
So if the girls wake up every day and they see that, you know, it's a relationship dynamic where you guys are in it together, I think by default that becomes their norm.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And the hope is that whatever they're watching on TV or social media isn't enough to corrupt the years and the foundation that you've built. Because when I grew up in a home where, you know, like our parents are from the islands.
Yeah.
And, you know, my mother, for the most part, for a while she worked, but as you know, our family grew, and, you know, we got a big family, she became a stay-at-home mom. But my mother always made sure the house was clean. She made sure that my father always had a cooked meal by the time he came in from work.
I don't mean to cut you off, but they could have been the Jackson 5, but they were just a generation too late. All right,
we was like the Jackson 7. We was deep.
The Jacksons.
That's right. We was like Jackson 2.0.
Oh, God, my bad.
But,
get him, Joe.
Yeah, but she did. And, you know, growing up, cleaning wasn't woman's work. Like, when it was time to clean, guess what? She came, she grabbed me, she grabbed my siblings, she put us all through it. When it was time to go shopping, guess what? We all went shopping. When it was time to cook, she helped, even if we weren't there for the full meal, we was doing prep, we was helping. And same thing with my father. Even though he worked, he came on the weekends, sometimes he'd cook. I'd see him cleaning. You know, hey, clothes needs to be washed, he's washing his clothes. And those are lessons that stayed with me. And I didn't even realize it until, you know, you go somewhere else and you see a different dynamic.
Yes. And you're like, whoa.
And I ain't gonna call nobody out because I don't want to upset anybody, but I've been in instances where I've seen, you know, someone battling with, you know, their children.
Yeah.
And, you know, their significant other comes out and the expectation is they stop what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you put out my plate, or, you know,
wow.
you need to find a way to clean while dealing. And I'm looking at this and again, you don't know what you don't know. So it's only when you find yourself in situations and you're witnessing this firsthand and you're thinking to yourself like, yo, homie, why don't you get up and help out? Them kids is wilding right now. Like, she's struggling trying to get it all together. And you see it play out. And you're like, oh, okay. And then it takes me to what he says. In that moment, you realize, like, yo, I'm a good dude. And I start looking at my wife like, yeah, you know what's up. Like,
you know what?
I thought I picked right, but it turns out you picked right. Like,
that's hilarious. But you know what? The way you put that, it's almost like, I don't know. Now I'm on the fence because at the end of the day, I'm like, it is how you're raised. So is it a right way or a wrong way, or it's just a cultural thing or a different thing? So
his
it's like,
comment is loaded. I don't think it falls into the category of, you know, a particular culture or
I mean,
skin
what he
color.
was okay. So what he was saying
his
is
experiences.
definitely the phrase he okay. So the statement that he stated, all right, or put out was basically, it's true. I mean, with the culture the two ethnicities he's referring to, the black and Hispanic. And the reason I say that is because he was comparing it to a single mom, right? So he was not generalizing, he was narrowing it down, because there are families that are black that have a two-parent household, right. But he was just speaking on, like you said, experience on that particular thing, and then to compare it to something that has, then, you know, it's comparing apples to oranges, apples and oranges.
There, because I've lived both those scenarios, and you know what, even if there was some type of gripe with what took place with any of their fathers, it didn't carry any weight on how they dealt with me. At least I didn't see it play out for the time that we dated. I didn't pick up on. I didn't feel like that was enough to curb how they dealt with me or the expectations that they had of me. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and again, I'm not saying what he's saying is 100% false. I'm not saying that either. I think it's tough when you're dealing with, when you make general statements, and he gets a pass from me only because, again, he kept it to, you know what, his dealings and what he's dealt with personally.
Well, but he still should have said some of the women that Bob dated versus
we're
soft, but he was like all this,
we
but
want everything to be like
exactly
correct.
Well, we want to be the professional and everything. That's what it seemed like. You know, so when you
and I can appreciate somebody just speaking raw and off the cuff, because we're so guarded about what we say for fear of offending someone that sometimes there's a wholesomeness. There's a sincerity lost in what you're trying to say when you got to polish up everything to make sure you're not offending anyone. Well, you went hard in the paint on that comment.
Yeah, well, come on. He's not going to... Who's going to cancel him? Come on, bro. Come on now.
He went hard in the paint.
Who's going to cancel him, bro?
You know, I mean, who's his truth?
Yeah, who's going to cancel him? He picked a good topic not to get canceled, you know, to go against... the group that he talked about. Speaking of, I know you mentioned something with James Bond that you were talking about. So you're asking, like, who should they replace it? Should it be a woman? What were you saying?
So I am a huge Bond fan. All right, I'm talking since the days of Sean Connery. I love the role. I know it's probably dated by today's standards, but Daniel Craig, which has played Bond for the last couple of years, I believe
10 years, 8 years, right?
Yeah, he's had a good run, man. He's had a good run. His role as Bond has come to an end. That's our understanding. And there's been all kinds of mumblings and discussions on who should take on the role. I know at one time they were talking about Idris Elba, which, cool. You know, it would be... You know, just for brown power, I would love. I mean, I would absolutely love to see, you know, a minority play Bond. There was talks of it being a woman. I would be game for that too. I'd love to see a female. Why not?
Nah, dude. I think
007
I think. See, I'm on the fence when it comes to this inclusion thing with everything. In a sense, you know what I mean? I think there's, you know, like they have the culture appropriation thing. I think certain things are like untouched. Like if you want to create a Bond, James Bond, or let's say you want to have Idris Elba do some new spy thing that's doesn't touch that, because it's like, it almost feels like what do you call it? The what is it? The thing executive? No. What was it? That thing they had to do to have inclusion? Not executive order. What do you call it? Back in the day when they had the to include people of color.
Oh my gosh!
Gosh, I can't remember the term right now. It's right at the tip of my tongue.
Now you've thrown it out there.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Oh
they
my
incorporated
gosh.
into like corporate America and like
Yeah.
understand where they needed to be. It'll
Yes.
come to me. It'll come to me. I
Yeah.
can't remember right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
So you are fine with?
I don't think a
Bond
woman should be
looking
James
the
Bond.
same way.
No, I don't. I don't think Bond should be a woman because it's James Bond.
Okay.
So you're gonna have James Bond, or is he gonna be like, is it gonna be James Bond? It could be not gender, Jenner Bond. I mean, what is it gonna be?
All right. So let's dive a little deeper into that. So, okay, let's say so you feel like the role should be maintained by a man. Now, do you believe it should be maintained by a Caucasian male? For the sake of the role and the way it was designed, you believe that's how it should always be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in case it's and unless it's a new Bond, then give it a different name. If it's a different, if you know what I mean, if it's a 007, call it 009. I mean, if you're going with a series, then you can have a
see what you're
spinoff
saying. Yeah.
because at the end of the day, James Bond is considered one thing,
Right.
And that's like I'm trying to think of some good.
I see. Affirmative action.
Yes, affirmative action. That's what it was. Affirmative action. So
The old man brain
yeah.
is ticking a little slow today. Sorry, family.
Yeah, but to me, it's like let's happen because and it's like, are you putting it in because it's the best choice, or are you putting in because we need someone of color? Let's pick the best person of that. That's what I'm like. Let's pick. We need to have a woman.
So you know what?
There's a ton of spy women movies too. There's a lot of spy. Salt was good.
Salt was great.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to tap into that series.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
And let me take a step back.
Sure.
I know we started on Bond. The new character, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily need to be a Bond. Okay, so it doesn't need to be
Exactly.
James Bond.
Exactly.
But you know what? You can tell the story, using all the original cast and keep it in the same vein. And like you said, give it a different name, give it a different number, and that gives you the flexibility to move how you want to see fit. So I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. On like, hey, this is who James Bond was. This is the character. This is how it was designed. You know what? It doesn't need to be everything to everyone.
Exactly.
If you're looking for flexibility, then get creative. And
Exactly.
you know what? Kind of create your own side story.
Absolutely.
So, no, I can get behind that.
Absolutely. Just like I don't know if you watched The Harder They Fall. That was a great Western that they did on Netflix.
I did.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was
that
a
was
really
just
good
a
movie.
great storyline. That was amazing. It was like you didn't have to sit there and make, Wyatt Harp or something and have him be a brother because of inclusion. No, man, just come up with your own stories. Come up with our own stories and our own. That's what I'm about, because I think when you do that, you upset people and then they think it's your idea. Well, if you look at it, the people running the studios and the heads of studios don't look like the people they hire.
Yeah.
As when they include people, and then we're getting blamed for it because why they have to take this from us, and it ain't even like that.
I think I'm a little more flexible because at heart I'm also like, I'm not full blown comic book nerd, but I grew up with comics in my life on a certain level. And the great thing about comics is some of the writing is so outstanding, and they're able to take characters that you've read or watched for years and put an entirely different spin on the story. Who's playing the superhero at that time. And I think that's why, for me, I have a little more flexibility when it comes to, things that other people may be a little rigid on.
Yeah.
Because I know what can happen if you just are able to tell a good story. It works out. And I agree with you. So maybe the next movie isn't James Bond. Instead, maybe it's just 007, because anyone can be 007.
Exactly.
And I like your idea. And that way you're not
You're not
offending anyone that feels rigid about what James Bond is supposed to look like.
Exactly.
All the while still having the flexibility to tell a story how you see fit. So that's actually a really good idea. I'm still hoping we get something different.
Yeah, that would be good to have something
quality story, but maybe the character or even like one of the other main characters, looks a little different.
Yeah, it looks a little different, has a little different, have their own tagline, have something that James Bond's not known for. So, glad that you agreed with me with that. And it's time for the rant of the week.
Ooh.
To conclude this lovely time we've had with small talk.
Yeah. You going first or am I going first?
I'll go first because this was actually since this actually happened today. I was actually we went to Target. Kate and I went to the store. You were running a little late. You were in traffic, so I ran there, and then I was like sitting there, and I was like thinking, circling Target, looking for a spot, and you're like, damn man, all these handicap spots are so filled up. Like damn, they're open, and there's this huge gap, and you got to look for the people that aren't handicapped. Which God bless us. We got to go and find a first open park. So man, I'm fine. I played my role. I found a spot, sat there. Kate ran inside, and I'm looking, and I'm like, damn, look at all these handicap spots. Would you know, or would you not know? No. Would you know? I guess. Would you know? That's so weird. I'm trying to figure out how you state that. Wouldn't you know? A woman pulls up right behind me. And I'm like, all right. Something made me look. An older woman. And I looked. I could see the rearview mirror. And I see something blue hanging. And I said, what the She's a first class passenger because she can get the first parks. She's a handicapped person. Why is she parked where the normal folk park? When there's so many handicaps. Yo, I wanted to be like, can I borrow your handicap sticker? Yo, dude, you don't even understand. I tell Kate all the time, yo, tell your parents to get a handicap thing. So tell your dad to get a handicap so we can get first.
Bro-RantZ family, I am sorry
I'm dead
in
serious.
advance because this story is hilarious. Do you watch Pardon the Interruption by chance?
No.
The guy that made Seinfeld.
Oh, the the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Pardon. Thank you.
Okay, I've seen
old
it.
Man brain. Sorry.
Yeah,
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I've seen it a couple times.
Did you ever see the episode where he's using the bathroom and the only stall available, or for whatever reason, he's using the handicap stall and there's a handicap guy outside waiting to get in, and the handicap guy gives him the business when he comes out.
Oh my god!
And then later on in the show, he goes to use the bathroom and the person is in there is taking forever, and then when he comes out, it's the handicap guy, but he's using a regular person's stall. Did you ever see that?
No.
It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and that's what you lived today.
It is, man.
You believe that she should have taken advantage. Well, here's the thing.
She got so many spots.
Well, here's the thing, though. Maybe the car she's driving is not for her. Maybe the handicap parking pass is for someone else, because that could be the case.
When if I'm driving someone's Rolls Royce, am I not going to take valet? No, I'm going to take valet, bro. I'm in the car. When in Rome?
In theory, you can get in trouble.
Nope.
It's
the registration of the car.
Exactly. So if the car is not registered to you, what if she's borrowing someone's car?
Bruh. No, she wasn't borrowing someone's car.
You don't know that woman's story.
Listen, I know a story. She had the tag hanging.
Super salty,
bro.
right
I was like, damn, bro. I'm over here circling this.
First class parking.
I'm first class, yo. She's a first class passenger. You know what I mean? First class citizen. I'm over here like, damn, yo. You worked hard for that. I don't know what loops you had to jump.
Hard. I don't know.
You got to get a doctor's note that says, yo, I'm handicapped. I'm saying you worked hard to get that handicap. No, don't be
laughing at this.
Yo, I'm sitting here like, what is she doing? She parked so far. I'm like, yo, there's so many spaces. Dude, I am so like petty when it comes to parking spaces, because I'll sit there and I think about it. I was like, damn, if I park like there's no spots, and I get this furthest part, and I'll see something open. I'll run over there and park there. If I'm sitting there waiting, that's how pay. Or Kate and I will park, and then suddenly a spot opens up, and I'm like, babe, you think I should go back and get it? That's just how petty I am. I gotta get that spot. So for me,
so the parking game is strong for you. Like this really rubbed you on.
No, it definitely rubbed me. I just I was gonna take a video and be like, dude, look at this, Geoff, because no one would believe me. Like, look, I was gonna be like, hey, Geoff, check this out. Times is hard on the boulevard, and show you this woman behind me, and then say, yo, if you're looking at this, I know what you're thinking. All the handicap spots are full, and I was gonna flip the camera and show you, nah, it's not. No, it's ladies' night. It's ladies. What is it? Thursday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Exactly. It's Wednesday's ladies' night. So I'm like, there's so many parking spots. I'm saying, hey, dude, they got so many handicap spots. I feel discriminated. But I'm just like, why? And then speaking of petty, I'm not gonna lie. I went to go drop off something at had motor oil.
Okay.
From the car when I oil changed it before, right? So I went and took it I had it sitting there forever at the side of the house. So I'm like, okay, the garbage people won't take it. Every time I try to put it in, they like inspect it. Take the oil. They were like, look at it, and I'll be like, why did you leave?
The oil police going to show up here tomorrow. Like, we heard you was trying to peddle oil.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why are you inspecting my oil, man? There's water in there. They just kept putting it back and kept trying. Like, this fucker. These motherfuckers.
They probably had bets going when they showed, like, yo, we bet that dude over there is trying to peddle that old ass oil against his
I was like, yo, these guys.
Containers change, but the game has it.
Let me tell you,
oil.
They took their job seriously. I was like, damn, these people take their shit seriously. Like, somebody's getting a raise.
Red's trying to get oil in baby bottles just to try to get
like,
it going.
What? You know what I messed up? I put it in the same container it came out of. So I was like, so it was the oil. Like, they must have been like, oh, they throwing away good oil. Nah, man. So I pulled up. So we go. I'm like, yeah, let me go drop this thing. It's been sitting on for like a year, 2 years. Let me go drop this thing to the AutoZone, whatever, because they collect oil. And I'm like, okay, they collect. They must recycle it, I think, right? So I'm like, all right. Little did the garbage people know I got gold. They should have taken it. And you just pull up. Nothing's there. I pull up. So I parallel park in the, parks that face vertical, I guess. Yeah. So I parallel park, just, take a couple lines and to drop this oil. Man, would you know, you're talking about petty, this handicap car fucker comes right behind me, guys, and just stops. And Kate's like, oh, he's right waiting. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? I'm looking, I'm like, this guy. He's just sitting there waiting, like, he's not pulling in. And then he slightly pulls in tighter. And I'm like, what, really? Ignorance comes out. I'm like, okay. So I close the door. I'm like, no, I'm going to sit right here and wait for this dude to come out. Kate was like, don't. She gets worried. I feel like every time I have like a moment, Kate takes me to, like, I feel like Boys in the Hood or something, like, no, Ricky, don't hurt him. Don't. It just gets like, it goes to that level. I'm like, babe, relax. I ain't even going to do nothing.
You got your whole future ahead of you.
Come on now, don't hurt. I'm like, come on, don't go there. I'm like, I feel like a Mike Tyson or something. Hey, come on. And she's Robin Givens. Don't, Mike, don't. I'm like, I'm just going to wind down the window. I ain't going to do nothing. I just gave him a look. He's handicapped. Obviously, I'm not going to do nothing, right? Obviously, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just like, dude, if you didn't know, I think I had did I have a hoodie on? I don't know. He didn't see the complexion of the reflection. And he's like, oh, shit. No, I'm kidding. But what about you? What about your rant, man?
I want to thank you for that 4 to 5 minutes of just wonderfulness. I don't even know.
It's my life.
Be laughing all the way home.
My life, man. I just wake up every day.
Clearly,
my
you
life.
in parking lots. You are a parking lot menace. You're gonna have to keep an eye out for you.
My life.
My rant is simple. I'm gonna give somebody the business, both good and bad.
Okay.
So I am a Tijuana Flats fan.
Okay.
I am Taco Tuesdays where it's at. Some of the best ice cold Coca-Cola out there and tacos for a price point that you can't beat. Mm-hmm. I, however, take issue when you offer a service and don't make good on it. And so they offer, curbside pickup, which, a lot of places are offering it.
Yeah.
And I've worked in the, food industry, so I understand better than most how
you know, the day can kind of get away from you. You know, you can get backed up. So, you know, shit happens. I get it. But, you know, I went there to pick up an order and spent damn near 45 minutes waiting.
Damn.
At which point I had at least 3 to 4 different people come to the truck, acknowledge my existence, tell me the food was coming, and ultimately it never came.
Wow.
And I was out there, and I didn't get there early. I was there for the time I was supposed to be.
Tell me you got a credit. Tell me you got a credit.
45 minutes.
Tell me the meal was on them.
So that's that. So that was the not so good experience.
Gotcha.
You know, I sat on it for a little bit because having worked in customer service a long time, it is never good to call and speak to someone in anger. At the end of the day, everyone deserves respect. So I sat on it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I did eventually call over there, and you know, true to form, they were super apologetic, and you know, they did offer a credit. You know, they basically provided dinner for the entire family at no additional cost. And you know, I think the whole purpose of this rant wasn't necessarily to call out Tijuana Flats. I mean, I did, but I also wanted to give them their props. It takes nothing sometimes to just allow people to speak and vent. And you know what? Just listen. You'd be surprised how much weight just listening sometimes will carry, whether it's someone that's mourning, whether it's someone that's upset, whether it's someone that's just frustrated and needs to vocalize some stuff and get it off their chest. I think that as men and maybe sometimes as people, we're always quick to offer solutions. You know, we're always trying to figure out how to fix the problem. And I think that's especially big for men.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, listening is a very powerful component, is a very powerful tool in helping you navigate everyday life. And so the whole point of this is props to Tijuana Flats for making a bad situation better. I still go there. I've you know, their track record is honestly, it's undisputed. That one situation is an outlier compared to the amount of times that we go there and receive wonderful food and wonderful service. But, you know, props to the manager over there just for taking the time, listening, being very receptive, you know, trying to explain to me what may have happened, made no excuses, and literally was like, whatever you need, you tell me what you need. And the crazy thing is I said, I don't want anything. I just needed someone to know because I was disappointed. He's like, no, we can't have it end like that.
Wow.
I mean, so, you know, listening is powerful. And, you know, if and when you can't go above and beyond, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it is true. A bad situation can lend itself to like really solidifying, you know, a relationship or locking in a situation. So, you know, props to T Flats and props to the manager over there.
I got actually 2 issues. Geoff, I had no clue that you had some stock in Tijuana Flats because you was plugging these mofos. Damn, we gotta get a sponsorship. And 2, damn, Geoff, if you need to talk, bro, I'm here, bro. I've seen all the underlying signals right here that this man need me. I'm listening, Geoff, because I want, you know, we lost Miss USA. I want to lose you, bro. Tough stuff, bro. Tough stuff, but guys, it's been a wonderful one, and I'm glad that Geoff showed up. Raym, I hope your record is undefeated, and you and your little kids are killing it. The Bad News Bears, and
one time for my man Ray, he runs, he scores, goal. We out.
Peace.